Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Music Mondays on Understandable English. In this series, I tell you about all the most important and famous songs, and I tell you what the lyrics mean. Today's song is American Pie by Don McLean. So, let's get to it. Don McLean is an American singer and songwriter. His unique voice is recognizable in all of his music. His best-known songs, American Pie and Vincent, have gone down as classics. That means that they have become known as classics, or something that everybody will know for a long, long time. But what does this song mean to me as an American who grew up listening to this music? Well, quite honestly, I couldn't name another Don McLean song. But I, like nearly all the other Americans I know this song very well. It's a long, long song, so I'm not sure that I could sing every single word, but the chorus especially is very, very well known. This song is full of mystery. No one knows how to interpret the true meaning. Many people believe that this song is about how Americans lost their innocence in the 1960s. That means they lost the ability to think that everything was good and perfect, and that they understood that some things are not as good as it seems. As always, I can't play the actual music for you because of copyright, but we can still look at the lyrics. So, let's do it. Verse 1. A long, long time ago, I can still remember how that music used to make me smile. And I knew if I had my chance that I could make those people dance, and maybe they'd be happy for a while. A long, long time ago, this just means much time ago, or many, many years or decades ago. Had my chance just means had my opportunity here to play music for other people. And for a while just means for a little bit of time. But February made me shiver. With every paper I'd deliver. Bad news on the doorstep, I couldn't take one more step. Shiver is when you shake because it's very, very cold. Paper I deliver. Paper here means newspaper, and he's delivering the newspaper. This was a common job for boys or teenagers in the 60s. The doorstep is the place in front of your house where the main door is. He would put these newspapers on the doorstep to deliver them. I can't remember if I cried when I read about his widowed bride, but something touched me deep inside the day the music died. A widow is a girl or a woman who has had a husband who has died. A bride is the girl or woman at a wedding. So a very young bride or woman has lost her husband. The husband has died. Something touched me means something made me feel emotions. The day the music died. Most people believe that this is talking about the day that Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper died in a plane crash. These were very famous musicians at this time in history. They all died in a very tragic plane crash. As I said, this song is very mysterious. No one truly knows what the real meaning is. So I'm going to tell you most of what the words literally mean, what they actually mean, but what the singer wanted to say, well, I don't know. No one really knows. And onward to the chorus. This maybe is one of the most recognizable choruses of all time. So bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing this'll be the day that I die. A Chevy is what we call a Chevrolet, a type of car. So he's driving his Chevy or Chevrolet, his car, to the levee. The levee could be a big wall that stops water from flooding or from coming from a river into a town. But many people think that this is a bar that he used to go to called the levee. Here it's saying the levee is dry. If something is dry, that means there is no alcohol. So perhaps there's no more alcohol at the bar, the levee, where he used to go. Them good old boys is a phrase we typically use to talk about our close friends that we have known for a long time. Typically, older people will say this because they've had a whole life to know these good old friends or good old boys. Whiskey in rye is maybe a type of whiskey, or he's drinking whiskey in the town or the city of Rye. Again, not really sure. There is a city called Rye in New York where he's from. Again, singin is just singing. We don't pronounce or write the G in more informal times. And onward to verse 2. Did you write the book of love, and do you have faith in God above, if the Bible tells you so? Do you believe in rock and roll? Can music save your mortal soul? And can you teach me how to dance real slow? The Book of Love is a song by the Monotones, a famous band. Tells you so is a common phrase, just means tells you like this. A mortal soul means a soul that can die, or a person that can die. They will not live forever. Well, I know that you're in love with him, 'cause I saw you dancing in the gym. You both kicked off your shoes, then I dig those rhythm and blues. I was a lonely teenage Brock and Buck with a pink carnation and a pickup truck. But I knew I was out of luck the day the music died. Cause is just because. The gym is a place where we go to work out, to do sports, to lift weight. We go to the gym. It's a place. To kick off your shoes just means to take off your shoes very energetically. You can think about if you're really happy to be home, you can kick off your shoes and go and do something that's not boring like work. I dig something means I really like something. It's a slang phrase we use. Rhythm and blues is a type of music, R&B, so he digs those rhythm and blues means he likes the rhythm and blues. A bronkin buck, I think, just means a bucking bronco. This is a type of horse or cow that is very energetic and does not want to be caught. So we typically say a bucking bronco is something you might see at a rodeo. Someone tries to sit on this bucking bronco and hold on and not fall off. A carnation is a type of flower. And a pickup truck is a very classic type of car or truck that you will see in the United States for everyday use. It has an open back, so you can put things in the back of the truck and drive somewhere else. To be out of luck just means that you were too late and now you can't change anything. I'm out of luck means, well, too late, so sad, can't do it. For example, if you are late to the airport, they might say, well, you're out of luck, the plane has already left. Sorry. And onward to verse 3. Now for 10 years we've been on our own, and moss grows fat on a rolling stone. But that's not how it used to be. When the jester sang for the king and queen, in a coat he borrowed from James Dean, in a voice that came from you and me. To be on your own means to be alone, have no help, no one around you. Moss is a squishy green plant that typically grows on trees or on rocks. It's typically a sign that something hasn't moved and is very old, and it's been there for a long time. A rolling stone is a person who goes from place to place and they don't really stop or live anywhere. This could also be a reference to the Rolling Stones, the musicians, but I'm not so sure. A jester is like a clown or a fool, especially in old times. The jester would come before a king and queen and do something silly. Some people think that he is talking about Bob Dylan, a famous singer of this time, but I'm not really sure either. James Dean is a famous old American actor. Oh, and while the king was looking down, the jester stole his thorny crown. The courtroom was adjourned, no verdict was returned. And while Lenin read a book on Marx, the quartet practiced in the park, and we sang dirges in the dark the day the music died. A thorn is the small, very sharp thing on a rose, for example. If you touch it, it hurts you. The crown is something a king or a queen has on their head. So a thorny crown would be a crown that hurts you, has thorns on it. Perhaps this is a reference to Christians and to Jesus, I'm not sure. To adjourn means to finish, typically a meeting. So it's a very fancy special word to say to finish a meeting. The courtroom was adjourned or finished. A verdict is a decision in the court. Is he guilty or innocent? So no verdict was returned means there was no decision in the court. They didn't decide if he is guilty or innocent. Lenin here is probably John Lennon from the Beatles, or perhaps it's something about Vladimir Lenin, the communist revolutionary in the Soviet Union, but I think he's talking more about John Lennon from the Beatles. Reading a book on Marx, or the creator of communism. A quartet is a band or a group of musicians that has 4 people. There's 4 people playing in a group. They're a quartet. Dirges are slow, sad music that we often play at funerals, that is, a ceremony after somebody dies. And onward to verse 4. Helter skelter in a summer swelter, the birds flew off with a fallout shelter. 8 miles high and fallen fast, it landed foul on the grass. The players tried for a forward pass, with the jester on the sidelines in a cast. Helter skelter, I'm not for sure exactly what this means, but the internet has told me that this is a British phrase meaning disorder or confusion. Or perhaps it's also a fair ride or something we might see at an amusement park. It's also a song by the Beatles, so you can interpret this how you want to. Summer swelter means summer heat, when it's very, very hot in the summer. A fallout shelter is a place where we go to hide from nuclear bombs. It's landed foul is probably a term that comes from baseball. When you hit the ball and it goes not in the right direction, we typically say that it's a foul ball or that it landed foul. It's not legal to play. A forward pass, I think, refers to American football when you throw the ball forward, but again, I'm not really sure here. On the sidelines, this is when you are in sports, you are sitting on the bench, you are not playing the game. So if you are on the sidelines, it means you are not participating in the game. In a cast is a hard thing you put on your arm or your leg when it is broken to help it become better, to heal. Now the halftime air was sweet perfume. When the sergeants played a marching tune, we all got up to dance. Oh, but we never got the chance. 'Cause the players tried to take the field, the marching band refused to yield. Do you recall what was revealed the day the music died? Sergeants are a rank or a person in the military or the army. A marching tune is just a marching song. Tune is song. And this is something you typically hear at an American football game. We never got the chance. This is a phrase, and it just means that we were going to do something, but it never happened because of something else that happened. So we never got the chance to do it because something else happened. To take the field, again, this is often in sports. This means to go onto the field and start playing. So here the players tried to take the field, meaning they started to go out on the field and start playing. To yield means to let someone else take your place or to go where you are. So the marching band at halftime at an American football game often plays music. And so if they are on the field, but the players are taking the field, it means both of them are together on the field, and maybe there's going to be a fight or a problem. Here it says, the marching band said no, they refused to yield or to give the field to the players. I don't know what it means. You can interpret this how you want. Do you recall or remember what was revealed or shown for the first time the day the music died? And onward to verse 5. Oh, and there we were, all in one place, a generation lost in space, with no time left to start again. So come on, Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack Flash sat on a candlestick, 'cause fire is the devil's only friend. To be lost in space often means that you are not thinking about something very seriously. You might say that a student is lost in space during lessons. They're not listening to the teacher. They're thinking about something else. They're lost in space. No time left. Left means remaining. So if there's no time left to do something, it means there's no time to do anything. We have a phrase or a poem that says, Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack jumped over the candlestick. It's more or less for kids. Here he's singing part of it, but then he said that Jack Flash sat on a candlestick, so a little bit different. A candlestick is just a candle. Oh, and as I watched him on the stage, my hands were clenched in fists of rage. No angel born in hell could break that Satan's spell. And as the flames climbed high into the night to light the sacrificial rite, I saw Satan laughing with delight the day the music died. If we clench our fists, it means we close our hands, normally very angrily. Rage just means anger, so he clenched his fists in anger or in rage. To break the spell means to stop the magic or win against the magic that someone, or here Satan, is doing. Flames climbed high just means that the fire got bigger or grew bigger. A rite is a ceremony or a ritual for a certain group. A sacrifice is to give something up in a ritual in order to get something better. So a sacrificial rite means that you give up something, you give away something, in order to do a ceremony or a ritual. Delight is just happiness, so Satan was laughing with happiness, with delight. And onward to verse 6. I met a girl who sang the blues, and I asked her for some happy news. She just smiled and turned away. I went down to the sacred store, where I'd heard the music years before, but the man there said the music wouldn't play. To sing the blues is a special phrase that just means to be sad or depressed. It could also mean sing blues music, which is a type of music. So here, who knows what he actually has in mind. To turn away just means to look or turn in a different direction, away from the person who is talking with you. It's almost like ignoring someone. A sacred place is an important or maybe holy religious place. Here he's saying a sacred store or important store. And in the streets the children screamed, the lovers cried, and the poets dreamed. But not a word was spoken, the church bells all were broken. And the three men I admire most, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, they caught the last train for the coast the day the music died. Not a word was spoken is a common phrase that just means nothing was said. No one said anything. The Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost is a phrase typically Catholics or people who study Catholicism say this when they're talking about God, Jesus, and this Holy Spirit. To catch the last train or to get on the last train for the coast means going to the coast or to the ocean or to the sea. From there, it just repeats and goes back to the chorus. So congratulations, you have learned another English song. This one was a tough one with so many different words and phrases. It's hard to know or interpret what the singer actually wanted to say. Well, that's all for today. See if you can use 5 of the new words or phrases that you learned today and write something in the comments down below. As always, I'll help you fix your mistakes. I recommend you listen to the song on your way to school or work tomorrow to see how much you learned. If you learned something new, feel free to press like or subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Understandable English. Toodles!